And a good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's our pleasure and privilege to have in our studio this morning, as usual, His Worship, the Mayor of the City of St. John's. Good morning, Your Worship. It's really a great privilege and pleasure to have you down to talk to you this morning.
Yes, and good morning to you, Bas.
And a good morning to you. Now, Your Worship, I understand that you had a full plate down at City Hall this week. The old perennial Halloween topic came up again, I do believe.
Yes, well, you know, Basil, people can be so unreasonable. Year after year, the same problem arises. You know, you can count on it. You can, that is, if you were a betting man, or I suppose I should say, in this day and age of women's liberation, if you were a betting person, you could almost bet on it. Will Halloween be held on such and such a date, or will Halloween be held on such and such another date? Well, I mean, counselors down on the floor, their hands around one another's throats, getting the scattered knee in to best advantage, and the chamber possibly chock full of sisters and children of impressionable years, Bas. Well, I mean, really, it makes for good television. But is that what the public expects? With so many more important issues facing us.
Such as what, Your Worship?
Well, I mean, Basil, such as sending a peacekeeping mission into Halifax, for example. A tough-minded force led by the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary with divisions of the Church Lads Brigade, the Salvation Army, and some of our really fine sanitary engineers. We'd have them pacified up there in that poor, troubled corner of the world before you could say Jack Robinson, or, more properly, His Holiness is coming.
Well, in connection with that, Your Holiness, I mean, Your Worship, there's been certain negative controversy this week about the fine old mercantile firm of Boring on Water Street having Santa Claus in so early this fall. What do you think of that?
Basil, I'm sure that you won't believe this, but do you know, I've had several calls at my home at a very early hour in the morning concerning those pictures of His Holiness in the arcade windows down there on Water Street. Imagine, in this present day and age, Bas, because as you know, and as many of our Protestant friends listening this morning might know, it was none other than the Holy See that came up with Santa Claus in the first place. Halloween, too, come to that, not forgetting Easter and possibly Mother's Day. So there you have it, you see.
Your Worship, another interesting topic this week was the possibility of the idea of tunneling under the Southside Hills, that it might just go ahead. What's your personal reaction to that?
Well, as you know, my reactions to that scheme are somewhat mixed. On the one hand, I'm absolutely delighted that there'll be new activity, new development, new progress, new profits made here in the city of St. John's. Oh, there'll be opposition, Bas. There'll be controversy, you can bet your boots. There'll be the usual unseemly wrangling and eye-gouging down at City Hall, led as usual, and I'm naming no names here, led as usual by two counselors wearing whiskers and another wearing pantyhose. Yes, there'll be the usual little dust-up, but I think it's an extremely good thing. Now, on the other hand, Bas, I'll be very sorry to see those tanks go, those oil tanks and so forth out there on the Southside Hills. A real landmark, you know, a real part of our heritage here in the city of St. John's. You know, I well recall, as a lad growing up on Power Street, that the first thing to greet my eye as I woke up in the morning, looking out of my little dormer bedroom window, was the inspiring sight of those magnificent oil tanks on the Southside Hills. So don't tell me, Bas, that some jumped-up little Bayman Premier can tell yours truly the first thing at all about the gas and oil industry. No, I plan to make a strong application to Heritage Canada to have those fine old tanks preserved for posterity.
Yes, well, finally, Your Worship, any other earth shakers down at City Hall this week?
No, not actually, Bas. Now, Mrs. McGillicuddy of Stabb's Cul-de-sac wanted an extension to her back porch, but we turned her down. Now, this naturally sent Councillor Pumphrey right off the deep end. He's an absolute demon on the subject of back porch extensions for some reason. Sets him off like J. Edgar Hoover in pursuit of commies in the U.S. Congress or something. But, you know, that's life, isn't it?
Your Worship, thank you so much for this. It's been a real pleasure, and always a pleasure and privilege, of course, to have you on the program.
Yes, and thank you, Bas.
right. Now, folks, it's time once again for our trivia quiz this morning. Phone us with the right answer, and we'll send you out 2 tickets to the official photographing of His Worship's purchasing of the first peanut in the annual Society of Royal Alligators Peanut Drive. And the question is, what area near St. John's is affectionately known as the Black Hole of Calcutta? We'll repeat that. What area near St. John's is affectionately known as the Black Hole of Calcutta? How about you, Your Worship? Do you know the answer to that one?
Well, I don't know. I wonder, Baz, would the answer to your question be Mount Pearl?
Well, that's close, but not right on. We'll be back looking for an answer in a moment. We've got to go now to take a commercial break, but we'll be right back. We'll be discussing Premier Peckford's latest proposal to drop Jim Toms, Nellie Carter, and Steve Neary on Saint-Pierre. Don't go away. We'll be right back.